Hey, how's everybody doing? So this video is going to be like my first, well, not my first. I've done a couple like this right here, but this is kind of some of the stuff that I scrounge once in a while when possible. And if you're like me and you like tools and equipment and that sort of thing, and you like to get it cheap or free, or you get something that you need to recycle, if you're into all those aspects with regards to shop equipment, then this might be of interest to you. If you're not, and that sort of stuff is just something you have to deal with if you're doing a task, then this video is not for you. So that's my warning and disclaimer up front. But if you like looking at estate sale finds and yard sale finds and what have you, just to see what people are coming up with, well, you're at the right spot. That's what this video was all about. I got to go by the metal recycler today, and just as soon as I walked into the yard, I saw this guy dumping a couple of toolboxes worth of stuff, into the salvage pile. So just like flies, myself and a couple of guys that worked there was all over it, and thought I'd share with you what I walked away with. It happened so fast that I'm gonna even have some surprises in here. I was just looking and kind of grabbing quickly. So, but one thing I thought was pretty cool, not that they really amount to much, but a bunch of these old school socket totes. Let me see, let me back up my stuff here so you can see, get in frame. I'm just going to dump these things into the old Evaporust after I get done talking about them. So I ended up with 3 of these socket totes, and they're not big money, but they're handy. This of course would carry a larger set. This would be the yellow one would be pretty much the standard smaller set, and then I guess this one you just hang from a wall or whatnot. But anyway, I got a ton of extra sockets that I could put somewhere. Here's something cool. It's a metal file, and I'd say at the thickest point is probably about the thick, let me see, what, 3/4 of an inch. Pretty significant round file. I've never had one this large before. Very minimal wear. Don't see a maker's mark on it, so, but I'll clean this up and add it to my file collection. I grabbed a couple other files too, because it's hard and it's expensive to come up with good files these days. I think this is a Nicholson file. Got a pair of pretty funky set of dikes right here. 2 relatively small holes. I'm assuming this is probably electrical related, but I don't have one of these long-handled set of dikes. Pretty interesting. There's 100 spins on pry bars, and this is just one of them. But I grabbed it. I liked it because it was kind of medium-ish size and kind of slender. Got another set of wire dikes. What? Crowster USA. They look old school. Pretty nice set of handles. The teeth aren't indented or anything from being abused, I don't think. I'll clean it up and no more. But I always am looking for my my wire snips when I'm using the MIG. And saw a neat little square. This is it's got a gauge on it for hip and valley rafter layout. Pretty cool, but it's a neat little neat size. It's an interesting size, not that common as far as a small square, and it's Pretty dang straight too. What I like about this, it's way longer than it is here on this short end. So sometimes you need to establish a really flat surface, and then you just have enough room for something kind of small up above. So I like having options when it comes to squaring up pieces of equipment or whatnot. It's always nice to have multiple options. I just grabbed this because it was in great shape, and I don't think I need another hacksaw, and I can't remember the last time it was since I grabbed for a hacksaw. But this is an old school. It says the Parker line, Worcester, Massachusetts. Great shape, handle's in good shape, and it looks old. It's got some age behind it. Another file. There was a nice selection of wrenches in that. This is Indestructo Super 1.1/8. I've been trying to build a complete set of these box end wrenches, and I like these offset wrenches. So I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer today for sure with what I pulled. See what we got here. This is really no big deal. Sparta 30, CC 30.
This is Sparta!
Sparta. What do we got here? This is one of these. I wish I could say what the purpose of this for, but they were popular back in the day. Tight spots around the corner, yada yada. But decent quality. Proto. Nice little Proto. 3/4, 11/16. Here we go. Oh, that's old Craftsman. Need a little love. We got here old Williams. This is real old school. This old Williams line. Super wrench. They've got a neat old school Williams display that used to be common in the old hardware stores. It's really neat. If a guy was really geeked out on wrenches, it'd be neat to fill up a display again. We got here another offset Indestructo Super. Forged in the USA, Indestructo. Yep, another offset. Now this gets your blood boiling. Snap-on Mini 3/8. I've been wanting one of these for a while. Let me see, it don't turn. Oh yeah, it does. It's gonna need brain surgery. I have to break it down and clean it up and de-rust it and whatnot, but I'm excited to have it. I'll pick up this old school Snap-on stuff all day long. I've got the Mini to this, the Mini 1/4 inch, but you know, a lot of times when you want a 3/8 inch drive, but you've got a space issue. So this is nice and small. Should clean up well. Yeah, I jumped on that like a hobo on a ham sandwich. Here's another dandy. This is the Mac. Yep, this is the Mac. And, you know, who could throw? You know, this Mac it needs to be cleaned up. You know, the battery say, who could throw away a Mac ratchet and a Snap-on ratchet? I don't know who could do that. But I'm glad they did. So I thought I'd go ahead and roll up my results of cleaning these tools up. I really enjoy this process, and Evaporust really does a dandy job. One thing that some people leave off of the process of using that Evaporust is once you have something sitting in there and you decide you're going to take it out and clean it off, what I do is I'll take a wire brush and I'll go ahead and brush the whole thing down, and then I'll use a like a Dawn dish soap and water, and I'll scrub it, and then I'll make sure I dry it off before it has an opportunity to flash rust. And then something like a file, I'll go ahead and take that to my bench grinder, my the wire wheel on the bench grinder, and I'll go ahead and give it a once over with that wire wheel, and then I'll go back and when I'm wrapping things up, I'll go ahead and give it a coat of this Boeshield, this T9. This is really awesome stuff. It's not all that easy to find, but marine stores that sells you know, components and parts and pieces for boats and whatnot, they always have them. It holds up really well. This works awesome on tools and machine beds. You can keep your machine beds from rusting up on you if you give it a good once over with that, you know, every few months, every 3 or 4 months, even in a humid environment, keep you out of having problems. So I had a couple of files, and a couple of them were better than the other ones, but that round one is awesome for sure. My wrench is cleaned up really nice. Not extremely pricey wrenches, but these offsets, I'm trying to complete a set and I'm getting really close, so I was happy to get those. Really the winners in the bunch was this these Mac ratchets, Mac and Snap-on ratchets, and they both cleaned up great, and they got good action in them. When you do drop these into, you know, Evaporust, or you clean them up, you might as well assume when you're done with that process, these cases are going to be full of residue and water and whatnot, and they're just going to end up rusting up. So Snap-on's kind of aggravating because it's got a pressed-on flange that you can break these style of ratchets down relatively easy, but you've got to have a rebuild kit, typically like a replacement pin, because you burn through this pin when you're taking everything apart. So I didn't do a full breakdown on this Snap-on. What I did was I took the two screws out of it, and then I used the nozzle on the WD-40, and I just shot this thing full of WD-40 to where everything that was in it was just oozing out all the seams. I did that a couple of times, and then I blew it out using those holes again. And then what did I do? I know what I did. This is an old find. This is called a Lubrigun, and it loads up with a cartridge of you know, multi-purpose grease, and you press this button right here, and let's see if you can see this right here. But it squirts out an extremely thin line of grease, and small and thin enough to where I was actually able to load this whole ratchet up with grease on the inside by just shooting it through those holes right there. I did it about 4 shots on each one, and I had grease coming out all over the place. So it's drained and purged as far as all the moisture, and it's loaded up with grease, and it's got good action. There's no reason why this shouldn't last a really long time. It's gonna outlast me. Mac was a lot more straightforward. You can take off this case and get into the internals and clean it and grease it up with no issues, so the Mac was not a problem. I loaded it up with a good multi-purpose grease after I cleaned it on the inside, and again, just great action. Happy to have it. 2 real nice pieces of kit right there. always a sucker for a pair of nippers. These are made by Crowder USA. You can see that they're pretty nice, and the handles are nice. They've got some grip to them. One thing I like about these is that they're just big enough to where you're not going to get them stuck in your pocket. A lot of times when I'm welding, I might have my snips in my pocket, and these right here are always going to be big enough to where I can get a hand on them, and they don't get stuck in the bottom of the pocket, so that's good. These right here, I believe, are wire nippers. Maybe they're crimpers, I think. Yeah, they're crimpers because they don't have a cutting edge on them. I can't see a cutting edge. So I don't know. They're odd, and I thought that was a pretty neat little find. When you're cleaning these, tools like this right here too, always make sure you go and try to blow out the residue in between the joint there before you lube it all up, so you don't have them rust back up on you after you put in all the work to refurb it. But yeah, pieces wise, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I don't know, about 40 pieces of total what I ended up with, and everything is in really good shape. Super good shape, cleaned up good. Had a couple of deep pits that I had to go after with the wire wheel and the bench grinder. These Milton air couplers are dandy. I don't think that this one has ever been used, and this one does look like it's had a wrench on it, so super nice gear there for the shop. And I did some little bit of restoration. I was missing a bolt and one of these aluminum finger nuts here, and I replaced that. This combination square is called a Scrounged, and it's made by Maze. I did a little bit of research on it last night, and the patent's been handed off to a couple other companies. They're making them now, but basically does 10 carpentry functions in this one tool. Probably just going to use it as an oddball T-square, straight edge, that sort of thing. But anyway, got it kind of refurbed with replacing the piece. It's funny that I picked out these two pieces and they ended up being a part of each other. I picked them out both independently. I didn't realize at the time that they were together, but all worked out. It meant to stay together, I guess. And last but not least, I couldn't help myself but to put a new paint job on this oddball pair of scissors. So I got those all cleaned up and put some more paint on it, and now I'm just waiting for them to dry up. But yeah, just goes to reiterate that you never know what you can pick up at the metal recycler. And I would say all metal recyclers aren't the same. You know, some of them you can go and pick around and find deals, and some of them you probably can't. So if the one nearest to you doesn't let you get in there and find stuff like this right here, well, then just keep looking, and maybe you've got some other options. So anyway, again, this is kind of a departure from really what I'm supposed to be doing as far as the channel and videos. I should be working on my cars right now, but every once in a while I get distracted, and I thought I'd share this distraction with you, and hope you enjoyed it, and maybe give you some ideas on scrounging, because really I'm a far better scrounger than anything else. As you can tell, I do it quite a lot. But anywho, thank you for watching. If you've subscribed, I appreciate you, and if you haven't, maybe think about it. I'm the king of random, so you never know what's going to pop up next. Catch you later, and take care.